Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. For those who don't know me, my name is Donisha Smith, and I oversee the Center for Financial Empowerment, which is housed in the county's Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. And just in case you're new to the CFE, we work to improve the financial health of county residents with an emphasis on Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We do this by developing cross sector partnerships, working to build capacity amongst service providers, and advocating for issues and policies that advance wealth equity. We hold webinars on a monthly basis called Empowering Conversations as a way to help local service providers and stakeholders stay current on trending financial empowerment issues, and most importantly, to share information about new tools and resources with county residents and the clients you serve as they work to improve their financial health. Young people who have experienced foster care historically face unique challenges to achieving economic stability. Refundable tax credits for transition age youth with foster care experience provides critical financial support as they face new and often unexpected costs that accompany adulthood. Given that, I am so pleased to partner with the State Treasurer's Office, the County Department of Children and Family Services, and the John Burton Advocates for Youth to host this session today to brief you on the state's new foster youth tax credit. We are so honored to have State Treasurer Fiona Ma join our session today. Treasurer Ma is leading innovative work aimed at closing the wealth gap for some of California's most vulnerable residents. Please let me take a few minutes to introduce you to Treasurer Ma. Treasurer Ma is California's 34th state treasurer. She was first elected on November 6, 2018, with more votes than any other candidate for treasurer in state's history, and re-elected on November 8, 2022. She is the first woman of color and the first woman certified public accountant elected to this position. State Treasurer's Office was created by the California Constitution in 1849. It provides financing for schools, roads, housing, recycling and waste management, hospitals, public facilities, and other crucial infrastructure projects that better the lives of residents. California is poised to become the world's fourth largest economy, and Treasurer Ma is the state's primary banker. Presently, her office processes more than 3 trillion in banking transactions. She provides transparency and oversight for the government's investment portfolio and accounts, as well as for the state's surplus funds. Additionally, Treasurer Ma oversees an investment portfolio that currently averages over 200 billion, a significant portion of which is beneficially owned by more than 2,200 local governments in California. And she serves as an agent for sale for state bonds and is treasurer of billions of dollars of state indebtedness. Treasurer Ma, it's an honor to have you join us today. I'll turn the mic over to you to share a few remarks with us.
Thank you so much for having me and my office here today. It is so important with all of these different tax credits. Most of them are refundable, but you need to file your taxes in order to claim these credits. So I know people that don't think they owe taxes don't file their taxes, but if you don't file your taxes, you can't get these credits, including this new foster tax credit. I know there are going to be other people that'll give you more details about it, but I want to just touch on a new exciting program that is administered under my office, and that is called the Hope for Children Act. So these are accounts that are available, that will be available for kids who have lost a parent or both parents or a guardian during COVID, as well as longtime foster youth. These are child savings accounts that will be in that child's name. Deposits can be made up to the age of 17 years old, and the withdrawal will be available when the child turns 18 or after their 21st birthday or when they exit from foster youth. We know that 1.6 million children are living in poverty today. 32,500 children have lost one or both parents during COVID, and there are over 55,000 foster youth in care as of January 2022. So these programs are so important. Thank you so much for reaching out to our communities to let them know that this money is available. These accounts are available to them, and we look forward to working with all of you. If you have any questions, please email me at askfiona@treasure.ca.gov. That is askfiona@treasure.ca.gov. Thank you so much, and we look forward to working with all of you in the future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Treasurer Ma. Thank you for your tireless advocacy and your work to improve the lives of California residents. And we are excited about the Hope for Children accounts, and we look forward to the implementation and supporting that work as well. Next,
Thank
I'm
you.
told, absolutely. I'm told that Ronique Ross, Special Assistant to Director Brandon Nichols from the county's Department of Children and Family Services, has joined our session. Ronique, would you like to briefly share a few remarks before we dive into the presentation?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here today on behalf of our director, Brandon Nichols. I just can't say enough how focused and committed we are to doing everything we can in our power to help to support youth as they transition from care. That includes helping them to understand services that are available to them. As Treasurer Ma said, we have over 55,000 youth who are in care to date. And what a wonderful opportunity to receive monies that are available to you that you may not even know about. And so we have our team here who is willing and able to support and has helped foster youth, former foster youth, to file their taxes previously. Um, we recognize the invaluable partnership of John Burton's J Bay and the State Treasurer's Office in assisting us with this task. We are committed and just want all of you to know that we are here to support you, again, with recognizing the benefits that you have as a result of something that was beyond your control anyway, being in care. So take advantage of the opportunity to help you to leverage the playing field for yourselves. So I appreciate the invitation to be here. I'm excited for the future, and the future being what's upon us now and what we can do to help to support youth who have been in care. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ronique. We appreciate you being here. Thank you for those remarks. Okay, and now with that, let's begin our empowering conversation. Please join me in welcoming Anna Johnson, Associate Director of Housing and Health from the John Burton Advocates for Youth. Anna works with J-Bay's youth advocates to ensure their voices influence policies that affect them. Anna, we are so delighted to have you as our in-house subject matter expert today. I'll turn it over to you now to tell us more about this exciting new tax credit.
Thank you so much for having us today. And thank you to the State Treasurer, Fiona Ma, and to Ronique for joining us from the department, as well as Jenny, who will be presenting next. Thank you all so much for your time today. John Burton Advocates for Youth worked with the governor, the state controller, State Senator Ana Caballero, and the Cali ITC Coalition last year to pass into the budget $20 million to go out to California's foster youth statewide through a tax credit. And the reasons for that were that our young people often faced financial hardships, at least two experiences every year where they don't have a savings account to cover those financial hurdles. And that can put them at risk for homelessness, that can put them at risk to drop out of college or to potentially miss their day of work or their job that would help them further with their finances. So the governor championed this item in the budget, a $1,000 foster youth tax credit. It is the first in the nation. We are making history here in California together, and we definitely need your help to spread the word, let foster youth know that this money is there for them this year and every year moving forward until they turn 26 and can qualify for other tax credits that are available for folks 25 and older. So this is a equity piece, and we're so thrilled to help spread the word with your assistance to all of our current and former foster youth. Next slide, please. There are a couple of laws on background here that show us that there is money available, just like the state treasurer said. There is the federal earned income tax credit for folks who are 25 or older, or for anyone who's a parenting youth of any age. They can qualify for between $500 to multiple thousands of dollars if they file their taxes and are low income. There's also a state California earned income tax credit that's more generous. It actually supports everyone 18 and older who have earned between $1,000 and $30,000. And that's a couple $100 if you're single and a couple $1,000 if you're a parent. There's also the new foster youth tax credit, which, as we mentioned, is for youth who are 18 to 25 years old in 2022 tax year, and they were in foster care on or after their 13th birthday. And when they file, if they claim the foster youth tax credit, they'll receive $1,083 or up to that amount. If they owed or anything, it helps pay that off, but they get the rest back. It's a cashback credit. And so far, we've received $1 million statewide, have already gone into the pockets of youth that have claimed that so far this year. There's also some child tax credits that are worth up to, again, $1,083 if you have a child under the age of 6 in 2022 and you file your taxes. You don't have to have earned any income to do that, but you do have to file a tax return. So it's not necessarily what people would think to do, but if you help them file, they will get that money. Next slide. So this is a flyer that you can actually order to help spread the word. There's posters and free flyers that the Franchise Tax Board is helping us to spread the word about. And I'll put that link in the chat during Q&A. But the proposal again, all the information about who qualifies and how is on this slide. So next slide, please. Now, these are a little bit more into the weeds, the details of the foster youth tax credit. So you do have to file a California state tax return, which means you have either a social security number or an individual tax identification number for folks who may be undocumented or don't qualify for a social security number. They still qualify for this credit. You do have to check some boxes that indicate, yes, I was in care, and yes, I'm willing to provide consent to the Franchise Tax Board to verify my eligibility. Now, to qualify for the Cali ITC, you have to have lived in California for 6 months in 2022 or longer. You have to have earned at least $1 of income, but not more than $30,000. Now, that $1 of income can be from many things. So we helped someone who was doing some hair braiding for cash. We helped someone claim that credit and report that earned income. Someone who is a babysitter, again, getting cash. But then anyone who has a W-2, anyone who has self-employment. So a lot of youth work in the gig economy, Lyft, DoorDash, they might be driving, they might be a consultant, a part-time worker. They do have a W-2, even if they worked one day at, wherever, they can get that W-2 from their employers, and we help them claim that credit. So we always say, if you've had your first job or your first kid or you're missing any stimulus checks, come on through for an appointment. The other thing I want to clarify for everyone is that this is for both current and former foster youth and current and former probation youth who are in out-of-home placement probation. And there's a one-time kind of eligibility verification that happens through the tax return. You actually do it when you file your taxes by clicking some buttons, and we made a video to show you how to do this. So I'll put that video in the chat later. Next slide. We have a lot of materials to help you with this. Not everyone is a trained IRS certified professional or has taken that test, but everyone can help young people get the information they need to file for free with one of LA's VITA sites that's dedicated to current and former foster youth. So first we made a guide. That guide explains a lot of what I just said: who has to file, what credits are available, where can you get a free appointment, and what do you need to file. The guide is a longer document in English and Spanish. The tax prep checklist is specifically made by current and former foster youth for current and former foster youth. It gets rid of all the tax jargon and tells you exactly what you need for a VITA appointment at a free tax filing site or to file yourself for free. What information do you need for that tax return, including the document that you can upload to claim the foster youth tax credit if you have it. That's also in English and Spanish on our website. The next is an outreach toolkit. This toolkit has images and slides that promote these resources as well as our VITA sites throughout LA County. So you can download that and help spread the word so that youth know about the credit, know how much it is, know that it's for them, and know how to claim it. So please download that. Next slide, please. The next thing that we have is a tax appointment roster. On that roster are the 2 LA sites that are serving current and former foster youth in LA. So one is the Coalition for Responsible Community Development and one is the Community College Foundation. And Jenny's going to talk more about how to get an appointment, but I've put the link in the chat. We also made a self-filing guide, and we're holding monthly self-filing events for young people who want to learn to do it themselves and want a free option. They can use myfreetaxes.org through United Ways, a partnership with the IRS. It brings them in, and we have a step-by-step filing guide that shows screenshots of exactly what it looks like to file your taxes for free. This way you won't be charged anything, and you can learn how to claim all of those credits. Finally, we have the benefits of filing for transition age youth in a simple fact sheet. That's just for background and research. So it helps reduce poverty. It helps people apply for financial aid. It helps them apply for other public benefits because of income determination. It helps them get this cash back. It helps them learn their financial literacy skills. There's tons of reasons why helping a young person get a free tax appointment and file is a good thing to do, both for them, but also for LA's economy. This money will go right back into county supports and services. Next slide. We made some videos to help people show where to claim the credit in a tax return. It is in the state section of the return. You do have to go in and click on those boxes to claim the foster youth tax credit. And the video that I put in the chat shows you exactly how to do that and where to look and what to do. So please check those out. Next slide. We have some partners in LA who are helping to spread the word as well through phone, text, and email. We're working with Aspiranet, California Youth Connection, iFoster, and Think of Us to help do a texting campaign and get people to an appointment. And you can join us in that outreach. You can also help youth sign up for a self-filing event if they want to come. Our next one is on the 14th. So in 2 weeks from now, you can help them sign up for support to file on their own. Next slide. So here in this slide is the link to the order form. If you want to order those flyers, posters, or you can actually just direct download these graphics if you want to put them on social media yourself. Please use those links from the slide. Those will come to you in just a few days from when you order them. They've been doing a great job getting out, and young people seeing these, it really tells them that this money is for them. Next slide. So I think now I would like to introduce Jenny. Jenny, do you want to take it away from here and let people know about specifically what LA County is doing, leading this effort for young people there, and how young people can get help through the LA County partners?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anna. It's a pleasure to be here this morning with everyone. I am Jenny Serrano from the Department of Children and Family Services here in Los Angeles County, and we are so happy to be participating in today's webinar thanks to the invite from the Los Angeles County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs Center for Financial Empowerment, who, as some of you may know, actually convened another webinar and had quite a few questions regarding the foster youth tax credit. So we're here to just share that info. You've heard all these great tidbits from Anna, and now we're going to go into some specific resources around LA County and our particular VITA sites. And so the slide that you have in front of you indicates our two phenomenal sites, Coalition for Responsible Community Development and the Community College Foundation, who last year agreed to pilot a foster youth specific volunteer income tax assistance site for us. And we had two of them and we were very successful. Last year, we served 101 youth and pulled down over $256,000 in returns. And so this year we are again providing appointments, providing assistance, both virtual and in person, to young people throughout the county through those two agencies, as well as over 100 other sites for free tax prep that are VITA sites and other free tax preparation sites throughout the geographic county for young people, as well as, to Anna's point, self-filing is also available, and we'll have some seminars and webinars coming up to assist young people with that process. On this slide, you'll find links, and we will be sharing this information with you post-presentation, but we do have a VITA site roster that John Burton Advocates for Youth has been gracious in keeping updated, just adding to the network of available opportunities for young people to get their taxes prepared and filed correctly. And to that note, we also have a very great website with the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs that also lists all of our VITA sites, as well as videos and other questions. And so we'll drop that in the chat as well. Next slide. Next slide, please. Oh, great, thank you. I was thinking perhaps it was me and I can't see things advance. All right, so Los Angeles County specific resources. As I mentioned in our year one result, we had $256,000 in returns come in for the 101 youth that we were able to assist and file on behalf of. And we're really excited that this year we have a target goal of serving 300 youth, and we definitely hope to hit that number. So far this year, statewide, over $1 million has already been pulled down by young people who qualified for the foster youth tax credit from the state. So we are really excited about that. 18% of those youth were from Los Angeles County, pulling down almost $200,000 just for LA County. So we're really excited to continue that work. We will talk a little bit more about verifications, but my email is here for you to reflect back on and to use as you move forward with assisting young people. So we will provide foster or social security number verification from DCFS, and my email is there for you. And then we also have and want to tout our Bank on LA resources as well. So Bank on LA is an initiative of the Center for Financial Empowerment, and DCFS has been a partner for several years promoting Bank on LA participants. And these are safe, accessible bank accounts that have affordable financial products and services for young people, things like free accounts, terms that allow for no overdraft fees, no monthly recurring fees, no amounts in the savings accounts. So they vary by institutional partner, but we have that information available for you, and the link is provided to show you all of the current Bank On partners. And so we proudly promote them because as young people are completing their taxes, they're filing, and hopefully getting refunds, we would like for that money to go directly into a bank account so that they don't have to face or incur other fees associated with cashing checks or potentially lose checks in the mail. So this is a really critical piece. And again, it's another rite of passage that we really want to promote for young people. As we're talking with young people and promoting filing taxes, we want to make sure that they also have a safe bank account to receive it. Next slide, please. And so now we'll get into the weeds in the consent and verification process, which is a really important component of tax filing for the foster youth tax credit. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. So these are estimates from the California Department of Social Services. CDSS estimates that there are 80,000 eligible foster youth in California that can access the foster youth tax credit. So we really want to jam that home to you. That's a lot of young people, and that's a lot of money. There are 20,000 that we expect will file and claim the foster youth tax credit. The state has already budgeted and allocated $20 million for this purpose. And they want that money to be refunded, as Anna mentioned, put back into the hands of young people and into the local economies to stimulate our economy. And so, again, as I mentioned, $1 million has already been pulled down through the foster youth tax credit. And those are actually figures that are pretty low because they come from, I think, mid-February. And we're already moving in. We've already added another 2 weeks to that timeline. And so we know that money is flowing and we want to keep that going. Beginning during this tax season, eligible youth who file their California state tax return and claim the foster youth tax credit will receive the credit. Youth are eligible to receive up to $1,083 in a cashback tax refund. So again, this is easy. They qualify, they file, they get this money back. And that is not counting any other monies that they may be refunded. Next slide, please. So this is a really dense slide. It has the eligibility criteria for the foster youth tax credit. And so I will sort of gloss over it, but essentially what it's telling us is that the qualified taxpayer, the young person that will qualify for tax credit eligibility, is at least 18 years and younger than 26 years on the last day of the taxable year and was in foster care at the age of 13 or older, and in an approved placement, a court-ordered placement, an AFDC foster care placement. The WIC code is cited there for you. That could include being in the approved home of a relative, a non-relative extended family member, a licensed family home of a non-relative, licensed short-term residential therapeutic placement, non-related legal guardians. They could also have been in a transitional housing placement if they were minors, or a transitional housing placement for non-minor dependents. They could have been placed out of state in a group home, supervised and independent living placement, so our young people that SILP, and that also includes tribally approved homes as defined in the WIC subdivision. And so, again, we're really looking for those young people that have been in care, that are in care after age 13, that have now reached age 18 and have not yet reached the age of 26. Those are the young people that will be eligible for the foster youth tax credit. Next slide, please. So this is about the consent process. And so this is a really important process. If a young person is self-filing, if they are receiving help, we want to make sure that they are providing consent to be verified by CDSS if they do not already have verification from the local child welfare agency. So we are providing letters to young people. I've actually been very surprised, pleasantly surprised, that I've received direct requests from young people for ward of the court letters or some type of proof, minute orders, or whatever they can get their hands on in order to file the foster youth tax credit, separate and apart from supporting our VITA sites. So that's been really exciting to just see that young people are taking the onus, they're requesting the letters. But if they have not done that, that's okay, because the process with CDSS is very simple. And so they do need to provide their consent, and they will be assisted at our 2 VITA tax sites. And we're happy to have those folks on as well. I just want to shout them out, Veronica Galvez and our other Veronica Vitella from CRCD and TCCF. And what else? They'll receive some information back if they don't upload proof. If CDSS has to manually verify, there is a process on the back end that'll happen after they file, but it is pretty straightforward. And again, the most important piece is that the young person needs to consent to be checked and verified. Next slide, please. All right. So one important note that we sometimes encounter is that if the taxpayer's name was different while they were in foster care than the name on their tax refund, then we're going to want to make sure that all of that information is aligned and synced, and all of their documentation supports the names. And so I'm trying to look and see if there's anything in particular. I think that's it. We just want to make sure that we're filing correctly and that we're providing the correct information for the taxpayer's name, and walk through that part of the process. So again, if that's an issue, I would strongly encourage you to use one of our foster youth specific VITA sites or one of the other county approved VITA sites that are available throughout the network, instead of encouraging a young person to file on their own, especially if it's their first time. Next slide, please. And then something that we also have run into, not as frequently, but definitely worth mentioning, married, current, and former foster youth. So if the spouse's name was different while in foster care than the name on the tax refund, again, we're going to just want to make sure that they walk through the process of entering the information that's necessary to ensure that we know who they are, that the IRS knows who they are, and that it is the correct person. And so again, if they're self-filing, they just want to make sure that they walk through and complete the sections that allow them to share that information. And if they are filing with a VITA site or one of our foster youth specific VITA sites, then we're familiar and can walk through that process with them to ensure that they get their refund. Next slide, please. I think that might be it for me, but let me see. Oh, next slide. Thank you. Oh, this is still me. Okay, so sorry, Anna. If consent or proof submitted doesn't result in the satisfactory proof of eligibility, the foster youth might be contacted to provide additional proof. And then that, of course, is going to delay the decision on eligibility. So current or former foster youth can, again, contact us locally, and you have my email address, and I'll drop it in the chat as well. But you can always email us for proof. You can also consent to provide to have CDSS check and determine eligibility, and they can request it directly from CDSS as well, which we think is a pretty common process. We know that oftentimes young people do go to the state ombudsman, or they ask CDSS to do their verifications for school or for housing programs. And so that information for CDSS is located here on this slide for you as well, for you to refer to post presentation. And next slide. All right, back to Anna.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and to Veronica Vitella and Veronica Galvez for operating those LA sites. You're really knocking it out of the park. We've had so many young people come through for an appointment there. But, you know, we do need your help spreading the word. So I'm going to put this into the chat. And if you can download that social media toolkit and get started helping direct young people to this site, $20 million is a lot to get out the door. That means we got to reach those 80,000 young people who could qualify. And we can't do that without you. So please, if you want an easy way, we've actually created the script and the pictures, and you just download them and post them. Or you can follow us and just retweet or repost from our sites if that's even easier. If you don't have comms people on your staff, don't worry about it. We had a designer make these pretty for us, and we had our youth look at them and give the thumbs up. We like these posts. So go ahead, beg, borrow, steal, use anything on our website. Next slide. We also have a newsletter. So we do a weekly policy newsletter, and in that we'll have updates about the tax credit, but also other things like some of you may heard there's disaster relief going on because of the storms, and that can change people's tax filing deadlines, or the middle class tax refund is not tax deductible. So there's all these policies that you might not know about, but if you want to kind of stay up to date, we do update everything in our policy newsletter, and it's a good source of information. And you can sign up for that on our website and stay in touch. Next slide. So now we just have some questions. So feel free to put questions in the chat. I think Donisha and Alex might organize those for us, but some people did provide questions when they first signed up, and we also have that list of questions we can start with. So Donisha, any questions that you'd like to have us begin with?
Yes, if you could please touch on immigration status and how that may affect eligibility for the foster youth tax credit. We had one question about I-10s and what impact that may have.
Yes, if you're in California and you've lived here for 6 months of 2022, regardless of your immigration status, if you've earned at least $1 and not more than 30,000, you can qualify for the foster youth tax credit if you were again in foster care on or after age 13 for 1 day or more. So um, go ahead and reach out to Jenny for that verification letter if you're not sure about it. But we just encourage you to apply, because even if you're not eligible for the foster youth tax credit, you might be eligible for the California Earned Income Tax Credit or the Young Child Tax Credit. All of the California credits are eligible to all of Californians.
Excellent. Thank you, Anna. And I don't see any questions in the chat yet. So, everyone, please take advantage of this special opportunity to engage with our subject matter experts. We want this to be interactive, so please feel free to ask questions. And while we wait for folks to drop a few questions in the chat, I just wanted to underscore the quality service that VITA provides. As we've talked about VITA a lot, and that may be a new term to some of you. So, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program is administered by the IRS, and that allows local organizations to leverage IRS certified tax preparers to provide free income tax prep services. So it's a great cost savings tool. So instead of going to a paid preparer and having to pay $3, $4, or $500 to have your income tax filed, Vita sites provide that same service for free, and they also e-file. So they're doing it just as fast as a paid preparer would. So it's an absolutely wonderful resource. So please take advantage of that during the tax season. Okay, Lilibeth, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, has a question. Lilibeth, would you like to voice your question? It looks like it's a follow-up question regarding ITINs. So a follow-up question, will Jenny Serrano provide ITIN application assistance? So Jenny, are your VITA sites um, helping individuals file and submit a W-7 to get their I-10 in addition to filing their tax return?
I believe so, but I want to see if we can allow Veronica Galvez to provide some insight on that, because I think she knows better. Okay, she's saying no, but
We've
is Veronica on
applied.
there?
We can explain that. There are some VITA sites that do have are certified acceptant agents, and we did apply to become that, but there is a wait list, and the IRS and folks have stopped processing those. And it's been a while since that application did go through. So, we are hoping to be able to do that in the future. I'm wondering if the Coalition for Responsible Community Development does that or not, but the last I checked, we've done everything to become that, but are not yet. So there are, I believe, Donisha, some sites with LA of those 100 VITA sites that have already been approved to be certified accepting agents that can issue the ITIN number on the spot or process that application for ITIN. And do you want to provide the link in the chat to your full list so that folks that need an ITIN number can get that process started?
Absolutely. We'll add the link to the chat. Thank you for addressing that question. We have a new question from Rachel. Do youth get any forms from the government like a 1099 or anything else? Is there a document they need to wait for?
Yes. So one of the items that I can share my screen here. Give me 1 second. On our website here, we have a document called the Tax Prep Checklist. And so if we go into that document, it actually shows everything that you need to file. So it depends on you personally, but we will answer all of your, we do what's called an intake when you sign up for an appointment, and we'll help you make sure that you have all of your work documents or 1099s. If you received unemployment, you would get a 1099-G from the government, but mostly you get documents from whoever your employers were, called a W-2 or 1099 NEC. Those you'll have to look out for in the mail, but if you've moved, you might need to call your employer, give them your new address and your email, and ask them to mail you a new copy because they would have sent it to an old address. But we have this checklist here in English and Spanish, and I'll go ahead and put that in the chat. But we'll help you get all your documents ready when you sign up for an appointment.
Wonderful. Thanks again. Next question. Can a foster parent claim foster children? Can a foster child be claimed if he was with the foster parent for approximately 3 months in 2021 and then 3 months in 2022?
The answer to that would be no. For 3 months, that's too short of a time period living in the home of the tax year to claim a child for tax purposes as a dependent. The child has to live in the home for over half the year and full expenses paid by that person. Um, so in that instance, particularly no. But if you have questions, I would suggest going to a VITA site, signing up for an appointment for your family, and you'll go through that at intake with an IRS certified person who will help you determine that for sure. I don't know the specifics. I'd have to do a one-on-one intake, to better understand. But there's all this tax nuance and rules, and that's why people take this IRS test so that they can assist you with getting as much money back as possible. Now, for the foster youth tax credit, that is for the 18 to 25-year-old who's now filing on their own, and that money goes to them in their bank account. So if they're claimed on a foster parent's return, that's not eligible for the foster youth tax credit. So that's one thing to consider about this credit. But the child tax credits, if you've taken care of a child in your home for over half the year or the full year, go to an appointment, make sure that no one else is if you're the right person, only one person can claim a child on a tax return. So you kind of have to decide who is going to do that in each year. And that's kind of how it's handled.
Okay, next question. Is the IRS able to assist with prior year taxes and refunds? For example, some of the COVID relief funding, maybe missed stimulus payments that weren't received. Are you able to help file prior year tax returns?
Yes, all of our sites will help you with prior year tax returns and getting any missed stimulus checks. So in our checklist, we actually list how much each check was worth in 2020, and then the third check in 2021. And so if you're missing one or more stimulus checks and you haven't filed, you book an appointment and let them know that you need multiple years of taxes completed. And even if you weren't working, you can claim these. So it's a very simple return if you had no job in 2020. But this is the case sometimes where a youth might have lived in a group home in 2020. No one could have legally claimed them on their taxes. No one got those stimulus checks for that young person. That young person does deserve relief, just like the rest of us from the pandemic. And that money is sitting there for you to claim. And the way that you claim it is by completing a tax return for years 2020 and 2021, and we can help you if you sign up for an appointment at our site.
Excellent. Next question from Helen. I see that JBay is offering free file for your own taxes after the April 15th deadline. Will you be supporting youth on getting an extension past the April 15th deadline?
Well, very interesting question, because the April 15th deadline is no more. Because of disaster relief, the IRS and the franchise tax boards have actually pushed the filing deadline back much further. Also, another reason that we do tax filing after that common deadline is that foster youth who do not owe, they can file up through October. So we help throughout the year. For those who do owe, we do coach them for how to adjust their W-4s or anything that may have led to them having to owe. We do show them on the website how to make a payment plan, request an extension, and provide that additional support so that that debt that they might owe in taxes doesn't come as such a hard hit. So we do assist with anyone. It's less common that young people owe, but sometimes they do if they might not have had the assistance up front or not taken taxes out of unemployment or received a big scholarship for college and weren't told to set some of that aside as taxable living expense. So this does happen sometimes, and we do help them with the payment plan and setting up and taking care of that payment in a way that's manageable for them.
Okay, thank you. Jenny, a
And I do
question for
want,
you. Oh, I'm sorry, Jenny,
oh,
go ahead.
I just wanted to add really quick. I think it's October 16th, 2023, Anna, that
Okay.
the federal government, that the IRS has extended the tax filing deadline to for most parts of California as well as Alabama and Georgia because of um, all of the different natural disasters that are going on. Sorry, Danisha, go ahead.
No, no worries. Jenny, how can a foster youth social worker or CASA advocate support youth through the tax filing process? What support can they provide?
Let me make sure I'm unmiked. There we go. All right. They can provide a great deal of support. I'm so happy to have that question. So, social workers, as well as CASA volunteers, advocates from community based agencies, or just adult supporters of young people, can encourage young people to gather all of their documents, get prepared to file. They can start the process of maybe securing their vital documents, their social security cards, word of the court letters, and just getting everything together. California IDs, maybe opening bank accounts. So there's a lot of work to be done that would prepare a young person to be able to file, receive their payments back, and start making some good decisions about how to spend that. That's another area that we can always use the assistance of a social worker, a CASA, or an adult supporter in, is what do we do once we get the return back and we have some money in the bank? What are those next steps? What are those priority areas or items that we need to focus on? How do we open a savings account? Things of that nature. So we definitely need you. Our sites are pretty limited. We have volunteers that come in and assist with the filing, but those long-term relationships that you already have with young people are going to be really critical for setting the stage for this rite of passage. And I want to keep framing it as that this is a rite of passage. When you think about the first time that you filed taxes and those subsequent years after, you probably went to a family member's tax person, or you had them show you how to use different tax filing software so you can do it. And so it is something that young people really need support in the process of. And one of the things that I want to just mention as an aside, but that really show what that relationship, the import of that relationship, is that we had about 70 young people return out of the 101 last year already. So we launched officially our two Vita sites as of February 15th. And we already had been making appointments and starting the filing processes for about 70 young people that returned from our cohort of 100 kids last year. And that's because they felt comfortable, they felt safe, they trusted their VITA preparers. And so it's really important that we continue as adults to encourage the young people around us. So I think that's it. Was there something else that popped up while I was talking?
That's great, Jenny. It's good to know that youth have that support. Yes, we received a few more questions. Anna, is it possible for a foster youth who is a minor under 18 to claim the stimulus payment if they didn't claim it in the past?
Yes, again, if no one has claimed that young person on their taxes, so as long as no one else got that stimulus check on behalf of that young person, they can claim that. So, like I said, there were some young people who that money is still sitting there for them. Actually, in our first year, 66% of foster youth had not received their stimulus checks. And in second year, it was 50% because we had, people come back. So they're good. I just was filing in Sacramento this weekend, and 3 out of 10 young people I asked, hey, did you get your stimulus checks? And they said, no, I didn't. And so we just did 2 more returns for them then and there and got thousands more dollars in their pockets. So again, the best advice is send them our way. We'll ask them those questions. We'll help them figure out if they qualify, and we'll help them get their money.
Okay, and Anna, what is considered income? If a youth earns $25 in a weekly allowance for chores, does that count as self-employment income?
No, typically no. Income is usually something that's like work done out. It's hard to say. If you were doing that as like a cleaning service, that would be different. If you were doing that kind of outside the home, allowance is typically from like one family member to another and isn't considered taxable income or earned income in that way.
Okay. And Anna, just for a point of clarification, you mentioned self-filing events earlier. What's the difference between participating in a self-filing event and going to a VITA site?
Great question. So with the self-filing event, you'll join us on a Zoom like this. We'll give you myfreetaxes.org. You'll actually be the person typing all the information in. And if you get stuck, you'll jump into a breakout room with us and we'll have you share your screen, answer one-on-one question. You're still meeting with IRS certified volunteers, but you're actually doing it yourself. So it's a really good option for people who maybe have filed before but don't want to pay TurboTax or H&R Block. They want to use myfreetaxes.org and they want to keep doing that for free. For people who want to learn and they want to try it themselves and they've got a computer or something they can file on, it's a really good option for you. Now, if you're new, got a ton of questions, you're not sure where to start, that's definitely a great option for you. First time filers is the one-on-one with our sites, and we encourage you to get an appointment. And if you're just frustrated or afraid, like you don't want to do it wrong, get a one-on-one appointment with our VITA sites because we'll actually help just show you how to do that, get your documents together, and kind of relieve any stress you might have around that. But both, IRS certified preparers join both. One, we type it for you. One, you type it yourself. So it's up to you how you want to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you for that clarification. Last call for questions. We're almost at time, but if someone has a burning question, we have a few more minutes. So please drop it in the chat now.
They're not Donisha, if I can just take a minute to plug the YouTube video, I would love
Please.
to because first of all, y'all made me do a YouTube video. And second of all, the foster youth tax credit is a little bit buried in the return, and that's something we're hoping will be different next year. But if someone is filing on their own, it's easy to skip over it. So I do want to just show where that video is. And just kind of encourage people to this video, it explains kind of everything, but if I jump ahead in it, it shows exactly where to go and exactly what it looks like. So, this shows exactly where to find it, what it looks like, what to do, everything Jenny described, if your name changed, and then where to upload the letter and where to get help. It shows kind of screen by screen what it all looks like. And so I really encourage people to just click on this video, share it with your young people so they don't skip over this credit that's in the California section of the return. So you do have to file your federal return and then your state return and kind of get in there and get these credits.
And I think it's so important to just stress that, right? That it is very easy to skip this. Historically, in the United States, we have left millions and millions of dollars on the table for the EITC, the Earned Income Tax Credit, which seems so simple. that you wouldn't miss it, that these systems do prompt you to answer certain questions to determine eligibility. And yet there are tons of people that are eligible every year throughout California and across the nation that just don't get it because they didn't file or answer that one simple page of questions. So it is easy to miss sometimes. I think we all realize that. And we just want to make sure that young people don't miss this opportunity because it's phenomenal.
Absolutely. And I see we have one last question. What if a youth already filed, but they don't know if they claimed that particular credit? Is there a way that they can go back and check?
Yeah, so it depends on how you filed, but if you went to like TurboTax, H&R Block, they promised you that they would maximize your refund. And if you didn't get that credit, you walk back in that door and you tell them, you said, and you didn't ask me about the foster youth tax credit, and they will fix your return for you because they legally have to. Now, if you were filing on your own and you jumped right over that, you log back in to whatever platform you used and you have to amend the return. And you click amend the 2022 return and you watch that video I put in the chat and you go ahead and click on those yes, yes buttons and you e-file and it will upload and show you the $1,083. And if you're having a hard time with that, email me, come to we'll help amend your return. You can get a one-on-one appointment at our VITA site. But if you went to our VITA site, you got it because we are looking out for this. We are asking everybody these questions and no one has missed it. We have been so thorough. So if somebody else didn't know, that's okay. It's called an amendment. And I'm actually going to try and make a YouTube video about making an amendment, but just come get help.
Okay, awesome. Well, with that, thank you so much, Ann, Anna, Jenny. Thank you to all of our speakers for sharing your time and your expertise with us. And of course, thank you to our attendees. We really appreciate all of your questions and your participation. And we hope that you enjoyed the session, but that you learned new information that you can use and share with your friends, your colleagues, and within your network. As Jenny mentioned, tax credits can significantly boost the annual income of transition age youth who have foster care experience. So please, please don't take this information today and put it on a shelf. Again, please help us in spreading the word about this new tax credit. We want to make sure that it is fully utilized and that no funds are left on the table. I see that there's a few questions about getting this presentation. Yes, we will share the PDF PowerPoint with you, and you'll also receive a recording. So should you desire to listen again, you have that opportunity. With that, we will bring our session to a close. Thank you so much for being here with us, and please enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, everyone.